Hello, hello. We got the global report. Super excited. Lynn, it's great to have you with us. You're back home, I see.
I am back home. I am back home, and I've slowly unpacked suitcases with the random pieces of swag that are left over. This is what happens. Taken over, right?
Well, it's good to see you back home. Are you back home for a while? What's that looking like?
It's so funny. I'm like a week and a half back, and I'm already thinking. Originally, I was like, "Yep, I'm back till February," and now I'm already sitting down, going, "Well, maybe I need to get the team together over here. Yeah, right." So theoretically, yes, till February.
Till February. Okay. All right.
Yep.
We will hold you to that.
Yeah,
Although I feel like you'll probably just be like in Amsterdam next week randomly.
it
But
could possibly happen. I can't. There are no promises, Joel. There are no promises. I don't know what I'm doing.
well,
So
it's
no.
great to have you with us. It's been amazing to see your travels over the last month, last few months, and just see everything that you're up to. I want to talk today. We've got a couple of things we're going to talk about. I want to start with this lying flat movement in China, which is this kind of whole idea of rejecting kind of like traditional work and this work culture. So just tell me about this lying flat movement that we're seeing, and how is it impacting what you're seeing as it when it comes to hiring and talent
Yeah.
acquisition?
So I think this is fascinating. So it started shortly after around the COVID time in 2021, and everybody thought it was just like a thing and it was going to go away. It's become larger and larger and larger, kind of expanding across Asia. Really started in China. I'm going to pronounce this wrong, so just bear with me. It's called Tang Ping, Tangping. Tang
Yep,
Ping. The idea is life. I love the actual translation. Right? You ready for this?
ready.
Lie flat and get over the beatings,
Oh wow.
right? Right? So basically what they're saying is listen,
Hmm.
we have been working and working and working. In China in particular, they had a 996 philosophy, which was like from 9 to 9, 6 days a week.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. So they all kind of said, listen, people, especially the younger populations are coming in and saying, listen, I'm not interested in this anymore. I am not interested in participating in this game anymore because it's not really benefiting me. And so they're just lying flat, which means to not engage, not to go over and beyond, above and beyond, just be, but not be too big, right? Not too big.
How does this differ from like quiet quitting?
It has a better name. Better name. How does it differ from quiet quitting? I don't think it differs all that much. I think it's the same sort of underlying philosophy, right? The difference is, I think the frame around quiet quitting was this idea that everybody's just not doing anything, right? They're just
Hmm.
kind of forget it. I'm not going to work anymore. I'm going to let you pay me, and I'm not going to do anything, or I'm just going to use a little thing to show my mouse is moving, but you're not actually going to be working remotely, right? It was
Those are called mouse jigglers, by the way.
those mouth jigglers, right? Exactly. Which but whatever, right? Listen, I think quiet quitting was very much framed from this idea of kind of corporate America coming and saying, we're going to put a label on this thing that basically means we don't like the way you're operating because you're not playing our game,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I think this Tang Ting movement is much more about reframing what it means to be part of this workforce, to be part of the environment. What does it mean to show up enough but not show up so that you have to be at the top of everything. Always be reaching for that next thing. Always be kind of moving to that next level of hierarchy, right? So
Mm.
anyway, fascinating. We're seeing it spreading. It has a lot of implications, I think. And just in general, I found it. Again, maybe it was the translation that caught me, and I got stuck on it for quite a while. I've been going deep, and there's a deep rabbit hole. You can Google it, go deep down the rabbit hole. It's a whole social media movement as well. You'll see people who are literally kind of taking TikToks themselves lying flat and working. It's fascinating. So
Yeah, it's usually when it comes to like the social media trends, I'm usually somewhat on top of them. So I'm definitely gonna check this out. And Jesse in the chat said, "Sounds like an evolution of boundaries in a good way."
yep.
Um, I think what's interesting is I think when part of the challenge with, like, these social media movements is sometimes I think they get dismissed by, by people, so or it can like, I think quiet quitting is a great example. Because of that name, it got kinda dismissed,
That's right.
pretty quickly, but when you look at it, when I look at it, I go, "Okay, really what I'm seeing is it is about boundaries, and it's about going, 'Alright, hey, I'm gonna work hard to what I'm paid for, but I'm not necessarily gonna go over or beyond,'" but it's shifting mentalities, right? And, so it's interesting to see the catalyst of social media. So, talking about social media, we are seeing, obviously, the rise in the aging of influences in the creator economy. So tell me about what you're seeing as far as, like, influencers go, 'cause, it's like, you think of influencers, you think of, social media influencers that are showing, like, a new lipstick or, "Get ready with me," but we're seeing, like, an evolution of this influencer and culture. So talk to me about that.
I am. So here's what I love about this. Two things. One, so now there's all this data coming out, which is basically saying, listen, there's a whole bunch of data that now shows that individuals between the age of 45 and 60, which thank you very much. That's us Gen Xers out there. Hi.
Woo! I love Gen X. Gen
Right.
X is where it's at.
Right. We've been quiet and now we're kind of getting a little loud, right? But basically what they said, 60% of them are willing to leave their jobs for some sort of micro influencer, social influencer sort of role.
Come on. Wow.
That's huge. Why? Well, we're tired. So it kind of goes back to that other trend, which says, whatever, I'm not going to play the game anymore. And the second is there has been, I think, this a movement to fill this gap of voice that's been out there, right? That is really, there's a huge population of people who have experience, have
Yep.
information, have things that are intriguing to share, and just enough. I put myself on the spec, just enough technical astuteness to be able to figure out how to leverage some of these platforms or get out there and start doing some of this social media influencing in particular. So if you haven't seen it out there, it is um, happening across the board. Go outside of your little box. I tell people all the time on TikTok and on your Instagram reels and etc. Go outside that little box a little bit and see what else is out there. And what you're going to see is a lot of people in that 45 to 60-year-old range, which are starting to show up and become um, influencers. Now, here's what's interesting. There's a term they're using which I do not like. Just want to be
What's
really
that? What is it?
it's this grandparent influencer,
Oh my gosh, wow.
which I'm like, screw off,
Uh,
because you're not age group does not mean that's who you are. But there's like this population of people. So it's
I
cool.
I will say this, like, I've got a channel, it's called Quit Your 9 to 5. It's a new TikTok channel that I have, and it's all about, and that's my target market, 'cause I think one thing I've noticed is there's a lot of influencers that have created massive audiences in fields that they actually have 0 experience in.
Right.
And what I've seen is a lot of times, people who are in that demographic, Gen X, they'll be like, "Oh, TikTok's just for kids, or Reels is just for kids." I'm like, "No, there's a massive actual, like, opportunity where if you actually have subject matter expertise, if you start to be a little bit bolder and put yourself out in video, you will actually get an audience fairly quick because you have really valuable information that people who are younger who are on these channels are actually really hungry for. And I think we had someone on earlier that was talking about, or a couple weeks ago, that was talking about, like, just the power of video in general. Um, a lot of times, what I've seen is the one thing that's holding people back is just like this fear of putting themselves out there. So it's exciting though to see that that's starting to shift, and I think it's great. I love the whole idea of just people sharing their expertise online, being able to grow a following and become influencers. So I love it. Why don't we? Last time we were going to talk about is the decline in corporate
I know.
philanthropy. So what are you seeing there? Talk to me about this.
So this is what's really so the new economic report numbers are coming out, and it is showing now that there's been a consistent over time decrease in corporate charity, right? So that means pre-tax dollars, particularly in West populations, is a pretty popular thing where big corporations will take a percentage, 1%, 2%, sometimes 5%, and donate that to a series of kind of nonprofits, right? To kind of
Mm.
show their social awareness and et
They're
cetera.
being good corporate
And
citizens.
good corporate citizens, right? Now, what's interesting is we're starting to see this number drastically decline. In the UK, it was down 3% year over year. In the US, it is down almost 5% year over year. And it's the people are starting to go in and we're starting to analyze why this is happening. It's there's a theory that it's a drop on a it's an add-on effect to this challenge that corporations are having about aligning themselves, or an angst about aligning themselves with charities or nonprofits that could become unpopular
Oh, okay. Got it.
quick, right? So this idea that over the last couple of years, people are paying a lot of attention to which company, who you're sponsoring, who you're connected to, et cetera, and the fact that that can change so quickly, right? That from month to month, there's a perception, right? From month to month, that what is popular today may not be popular tomorrow, or may not be popular next quarter or the quarter after that. And so I'd rather just not get engaged in that conversation, which is really challenging because more and more candidates on the talent side, right?
That's what they
Um,
care about.
they care about and they're asking these questions. So there's this disconnect happening between what are we actually doing and seeing, how's that actually translating into dollars, and what people are expecting to have happen.
You know, it kinda goes back to what Dr. Liz was talking about in that last section about inclusion, and it's like alignment of values, right? And I think when I think about even being a good corporate citizen, sometimes I think um, a lot of companies sometimes they're just doing things for like marketing, right? And that's clear, right? If they're afraid of what people might think or how things can shift, to me, that's just are you really that clear in your values? Should be giving the things that you truly value and that you're about. But then it kind of goes back to it's like that fear of bad marketing. Like it's crazy to me.
It's right, bad marketing, and I think it. There's a maybe I'll put in my little um, tint on this one. Some of it is about marketing, and the challenge here is that there's a misperception, oftentimes, that companies and corporations actually are operating based on some greater good, right?
Mm.
Um, and I think this is uncovering the fact that 99% of the time that's frequently a marketing effort, right? Uh-oh, what does that
Brutal,
mean?
brutal reality.
Come on, right? It's right. So what does that mean to us? That means, okay, we can all pretend or not pretend. But at the end of the day, what that means is that the nonprofits, the really great charities out there who need the dollars are seeing huge deficits
Mm.
um, going into this last fiscal year, and that's has a large social impact for us as well.
Agreed. Well, guys, I would love to know your thoughts about this in the chat. So get in the chat. Let us know what you think about this. Is this surprising? Is it something that you would expect? Lynn, thank you so much. Where can people find out about you? Where can people find out about Smart Recruiters?
Absolutely. So I'm easy to find. I'm a Lynn Bailey,
Top
ALLY.
voice on LinkedIn.
Yep, I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me out there. I'm always saying stuff I shouldn't be. Go ahead and follow along. And you can find Smart Recruiters at smartrecruiters.com. That's another easy one. Come out and find us, have a conversation. And we're going to be back out on the road shortly. So we'll see you guys in February.
Amazing. Well, Lynn, thank you so much. Check out
Awesome.
smartrecruiters.com. It's always great to have you. We'll see you next
Thanks,
week.
Sheila. We'll see you
Yeah,
next week.
thank you. We'll see you next week.
Bye.